Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Galatians 6:2 podcast, where compassion meets conversation. I am one of your hosts, Chriselle Elms.
And I am your other host, Joanne Javelle. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
How do you protect your joy in hard seasons? I have found that I can protect my joy in hard seasons by protecting my peace.
And
I protect my peace mainly by staying connected to God.
How do I protect my joy? So I don't think I protect my joy. I think I find my joy.
Right.
And that's something new that I'm also learning how to do.
Right.
Another book that I did last year was on finding joy. I'll put it what that book was, but it was a devotional that I did for 30 days. And that kind of helped me understand what joy was and how to find it, because
Right.
that's not something that was never my first reaction.
Right.
What's your toxic trait that you can laugh about now? If I really had to answer that question, my toxic trait, when I became a Christian, the level of judgment that came with that for me. I would say it was a toxic trait. And it wasn't that I was trying to be mean about it. It's just that kind of building this relationship with Christ that I had, it became so important to do the right things the right way. And so there was like this strictness about it.
I would say my toxic trait is that whole thought of I can do everything by myself.
And then God is like, no, you can't.
Yeah. and then God literally put me in places where I couldn't.
Yeah.
Feelings should neither be ignored or placed in charge. Be aware of your feelings. They can motivate you to do good, as with the Good Samaritan towards the Israelites.
Where there are feelings, there are attitudes and beliefs. Attitudes have to do with your orientation towards something, the stance you take towards others, God, life, work, and relationships. Beliefs are anything that you accept as true. Often, we do not see an attitude or belief as a source of discomfort in our life. We blame other people, as did our first parents.
Behaviors.
Okay.
Behaviors have consequences. If we study, we will reap good grades.
Yep.
If we go to work, we will get a paycheck. If we exercise, we will be in better health.
Allegedly.
If we act lovingly towards others, we will have closer relationships.
Right.
On the negative side, if we sow idleness, irresponsibility, or out of control behavior, we can expect to reap poverty, failure, and the effects of loose living.
Okay, well, then we're going to move on to choices. We need to take responsibility for our choices. This leads to development of the fruits of self-control.
All right, so values.
Mm-hmm.
What we value is what we love and assign importance to.
Yeah.
Often, we do not take responsibility for what we value. We are caught up in valuing the approval of other human beings rather than the approval of God because of misplaced value. We miss out on life. We think that power, riches, and pleasure will satisfy our deepest longing, which is really love.
Well, what else is within our boundaries? Our limits. Two aspects of limits stand out when it comes to creating better boundaries. The first is setting limits on others. In reality, setting limits on others is a misnomer. What we can do is set limits on the exposure to people who are behaving poorly.
Right.
The other aspect of limits that is helpful when talking about boundaries is setting your own internal limits. We need to have spaces within ourselves where we can have feelings, impulses, or desire without acting it out.
So we are looking at resources and gifts. We are accountable, not to mention happier, when we are exercising our gifts and being productive.
Yeah.
It takes work, practice, learning, prayer, and grace to overcome the fear of failure.
What else is within our boundaries? Our thoughts. Our minds and thoughts are important reflections of the image of God. We are the only creatures who are called to love God with all our minds.
What else are we responsible for? Our desires.
Mm-hmm.
Our desires lie within our boundaries. Each of us has different desires and wants, dreams and wishes, goals and plans, hungers and thirsts. We all want to satisfy me. But why are there so few satisfied me's around?
And so the last thing within our boundaries that we find is love. And our ability to give and respond to love is our greatest gift. The heart that God has fashioned in his image is the center of our being. Its abilities to open up to love and to allow love to flow outward are crucial to life. Our loving heart, like our physical one, needs an inflow as well as an outflow of life blood. All right.
So, Joanne,
Yes.
the book says boundaries help us distinguish our property so that we can take care of it.
Yeah.
What does that look like mentally or emotionally for you? Setting those boundaries to take care of your mental or emotional well being.
Okay. So I'd like to fashion it as the way I take care of my physical things, the way I take care of my clothes, my shoes, anything that, let's say, anything tangible, physical I have that I put value on, I take really good care of those things because they're important to me. And what you're learning is that your emotions, your attitudes, you have to give them the same intrinsic value.
For me, distinguishing my property with mental and emotional well being to take care of it. That looks like setting boundaries, not just with other people, but with myself.
Mm-hmm.
That looks like instead of what I used to do, which is just kind of stuff down my feelings and keep it moving,
Yeah.
taking accountability for those feelings, sitting with them,
Yep.
um, processing them, and then powering through them, and really just practicing self boundaries, I think, is the biggest thing
That's
with
good.
taking care of myself mentally and emotionally.
The scripture reference is Matthew chapter 5, verse 37. God is a respecter of boundaries. He gives us freedom to choose and the consequences that come with it. Chriselle,
Yeah.
how does this now shape in how you say no?
So when I first read this book a couple years back, and I really was empowered to set boundaries with other people, I was handing out no's like they were lunch tickets.
Yeah, you get
No,
a no.
no,
You get a no. You get
no, no.
how does this shape in how I say no? As a recovering people pleaser, like I like to call myself, no was not a big thing that I've ever really felt empowered to say.
Mhm.
As of late, everything that comes with the healing of you learn the power in certain words. And now no is a word that's in my vocabulary. And, we discussed it earlier in the season. No is a complete sentence.
We can't change others, but we can change the way we interact with them. How do you tap into this when someone keeps overstepping?
So I am very grateful that that's not really an area that I have as a struggle right now. I think it's because the newness of my life, the new friendships that are forming, I don't really have a lot of, I don't really have people who are crossing over my boundaries into the place where it's bothersome or worth talking about.
But I stand so strongly on removing myself
Yeah.
from situations where I'm not valued.
The reference is Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. The book states when we accept responsibility for our feelings, attitudes, and behaviors, we take back the power God intended us to have.
Right.
How has the above helped in your own healing?
It's helped me to better be able to navigate my thoughts and my feelings and my attitudes, it's helped me to better be able to process them,
Mm-hmm.
to better be able to decide, okay, yes, this is how I'm feeling and how I'm feeling is valid. However, is it necessary?
Well, for me, the process of accepting responsibility for my own feelings, my own attitudes, and my behaviors, it's really has been me checking myself with my feelings and my emotions. Um, like, I have the feelings, I sit in them, but then I check with myself and ask myself, your feelings are valid? Yes, but are they true?
Mm-hmm.
Are they accurate? Is this a lie that I am now spooling and feeding myself?
Right.
Thank you so
Bye,
much for watching.
guys.
Bye.